Hey there, reading enthusiasts! My name's Adrian, and you're probably wondering why I'm on this channel. Well, Lizzie Books and I have decided to swap channels for a day. So she's made me a video, and I made her a video, and that's kind of the large and short of the whole thing. So my channel is Jocatofcatland, as you've probably read this thing that's been floating here for a while. This is ridiculous. What is this? You're taking up my screen space. Get out of here. You can guys click on that when you go rewind the video or in the description bar later on and take a look at the video that she made for my channel. Until such times, I'm going to make a video about my favorite author, Terry Pratchett. So you may be wondering who Terry Pratchett is, and let me tell you, he is an amazing author from the UK that writes a series called Discworld. And they're fantasy novels, but they're not like high fantasy novels, so they're not like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or Dragonlance or any of those kind of books. They're like a comedy fantasy series where they just as likely could be not fantasy and be a sense of books as well, but they're fantasy books for all intents and purposes. So if you are going to your bookstore, look for fantasy and you can find Terry Pratchett books. But let me tell you more about these 4 books that I have here. For starts, let's talk about the book Mort. Mort is about death, and all these books are about death for that matter, because that's the books I've enjoyed that he's wrote, is the books about death. And when I say death, I don't mean death as in like things dying death. I mean like the character, like Grim Reaper, Scythe, Black Robes, Skeleton, death. And in this one, he goes out and decides he wants to take a vacation, he wants some time off, so he goes out and gets himself an apprentice, which is a kid named Mort. And as you can guess, because Mort is a human, he can be influenced by good and evil and stuff like this, and hilarity ensues as the book progresses. And the next one is Reaper Man, which takes place after Mort. It takes place probably 5-10 years after Mort, and it is about death. Gets laid off, and there becomes a new death, or a bunch of new deaths, and it's about the oddities that happens because death doesn't exist, but there's other deaths that do his job and then start failing at his job because they're other preconceived notions of death, such as that death should appear in a field when it's raining with lightning in the background, and he should strike epic poses for long durations of time, and it becomes very bizarre. The third book, Thief of Time, is about a bunch of time monks that are taking time from other places and redistributing it, such as taking time from the depths of the ocean where fish don't really do anything and they're not really using a lot of their time, so they take it from there and they put it to like big cities which need a lot of time because things are hustling and bustling. Meanwhile, in the book, there's a bunch of people making the ultimate clock, which in theory would stop time indefinitely if it is created. And because of all this, the apocalypse is going to happen, and death gets to ride out, and they introduce a couple other characters, such as Ronnie, the 5th horseman, which left before the horseman really got popular. And the last book is Hog Father. The Hog Father is Santa. Just saying. So when I say Hog Father, you know Santa. Anyhow, backing up, the Hog Father gets assassinated, and because death has to show up and claim the body, because that's what death does. Death arrives and is like, hey, yeah, you're, someone needs to do your job because, well, mankind kind of needs you, especially because it's Hogwatch, Christmas, and I'm just going to do your job for the year so mankind can go on believing in Santa Claus. And then Susan, which is another one of the main characters, is all kind of like, what's going on? This is ridiculous. I'm going to fix this problem, and now goes out to help and solve this. There's tooth fairies and bad guys and other random awesomeness, and like all the rest of Terry Pratchett's books, hilarity ensues, because that's kind of what Terry Pratchett's all about, is comedy and fantasy. That would be my review of the Death books by Terry Pratchett. You can take a look at all these books, they're all really good. Read them in that order if you can, because that's what makes the most sense, and you'll get little snippets from each one. You don't have to read them in order, because they're completely standalone. They explain every single book, who everyone is and where everything comes from and how and what and where and why, but it makes more sense if you read them in that order. On top of that, I'm actually going to give away a book. I went and picked up an extra copy of this because I wanted to give this away to someone that has no clue who Terry Pratchett even is, and you know what, I'm not even going to decide who gets this book. I'm going to let Liz decide. If you've never heard of Terry Pratchett, leave a comment below. Leave a comment below as well saying what you thought of this cool community building exercise where we swapped videos for a day. And get involved. I recommend you guys to ask someone, say, hey, I want to do a video swap. Are you interested in doing that? And do one. On top of that, again, comment for winning book. I guess at the end of the week I will let Liz decide. So go take a look at my channel. It is Jocatofcatland. I guess I'm displaying it here right now. Look at that. Neat how that works out. I also do a video on Glue Studios. You can take a look there as well. They're a weekly vlog, and they're like a film news kind of programmy video. Less vloggy, more programmy stuff. But that's all I really have to say today, guys. Until next time, my name's Adrian Walker. You've been watching eLizzyBooks, and ciao!